maker, dollar maker, dollar maker.
Hey y'all, the Maleroom Show for the takeover. I'm Kelly, and this is my co-host Berakhah. We are taking over the mailroom for today. Okay, honey. Thank you all for tuning in. We're gonna bring in the guys.
Okay, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
We live, B. Thank you all for coming in today to join our show for the takeover. We thank you guys from the mailroom for having us today. It's about to be on. Hey, we got Rollo in the house. What's up, Rob? Yes. We got JB the Gent. Happy Sunday. And we got my boy Davis. What's good?
What's good? What's good?
Thank you for having us once again. And we are about to take over. How you like me now?
Oh, man.
Yes. Once again, thanks for having us. This is episode 10. We are glad to be here with you guys this Sunday afternoon. And I hope you're ready. Y'all ready?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, we ready, you know? Yeah, we good. We got this.
Okay. We're going to do a little roll call, but first.
Wear a different hat today. I had to wear a different
I
hat.
love it. You're representing, Ra. I appreciate that. Thank you. We're going to do a little roll call in a few, but before we got to make our official toast, I'm here ready with my mango mimosa today. And my co-host, Berakhah, I call her Berakhah with my country slang, but we're going to do this toast today. So come on, B, hit them with the toast.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm sipping on some Chardonnay. So happy Sunday to everyone, and welcome to the takeover. So it's me, B, your girl Kelly, and we have the fellas from the mailroom with us today. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to come onto your platform and show how we do things from a female perspective. So here is a toast to a beautiful conversation. Here is the toast to 3 powerful, strong Black men, allowing 2 beautiful Black women to come onto your platform. And let's have a good discussion. Let's have a full engagement from everybody in the comment section. And let everything go smoothly like we know it will.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Appreciate it.
To that. Yes. I love this toast, B. I was fully prepared. So, Tay, I think you got a funny video for us. But before we get into the video, let's do a roll call in the chat. Let me find out where the peeps are from. Rep your state in the chat. Let's get involved with one another. And let's see who's repping where. I'm repping BK. I'm Brooklyn all day. What about you, B?
Hey.
Well, I'm living in Texas, so hold it down for Houston, southeast side.
H-Town.
That's right. Okay. What up, JB?
JB the General.
JB the General, of course.
You on mute, Jay.
Jay, get off mute.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm watching the show. My bad.
Right, like we're not used to this. We're not used to this. It's gonna be
I'm good, man. How's it going, Kelly? How's it going, Berakhah?
Yes. And Tay, where you repping?
I'm representing Indiana by way of Detroit. You know what I'm saying? We just whooped on them Chiefs today.
Oh my Lord.
My boys got a dub on the Chiefs. You feel me?
How you feel about that, Rob?
I'm more concerned for the fact that I know it's episode 10 because he's not wearing his Colts hat or his Colts shirt, so it's really serious.
It's serious.
Listen, we just got our first dub of the season, so I ain't trying to go too crazy.
To get too excited.
We ain't win the division title, nothing like that yet. You know what I'm saying? But but I'm gonna keep it humble. I'm gonna be humble today.
He's gonna put it on. He's gonna put it on after the show.
All right.
I'm blued up for sure. I'm blued up all day. You already know.
All right, Tay, you ready with our video clip?
Yeah, it's gonna be a it's gonna be a nice one.
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's see what Chef Biz is cooking up today.
It's a little oh my goodness. Hold on, let me get it ready.
Calm before the storm.
Whilst Tay's getting it ready, I just want to let y'all know, smash that like, okay? Subscribe. We need y'all to support us. We are new to this. We're doing it, big for y'all. This is real conversations here. And smash the like once again. Follow us on IG. You got the Mailroom View on IG for the fellas. And for the ladies, you have Her Village Awaits and BK all day 358. All right? So hit us up, y'all. Support, subscribe, show us some love.
Absolutely.
I can't find. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Give me 1 second. You can go.
And I figure I'll come in hot today and go ahead and answer some of the ladies' questions that was asking me in the DMs a few days ago. Yes, the fellas are single.
They're coming in hot, though.
Coming in hot.
They're coming in hot.
Yes. Be letting y'all know. Come on now.
Okay, I found it. I'm sorry, y'all.
I was like, hey, let me find out you're not ready.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we about to.
Got one already.
Bop. Bop, bop.
Already. I told y'all Kelly was ready Friday.
Are y'all ready? This is gonna be
video, y'all.
This is gonna be it's about two some odd minutes. It's a nice little skit, man. But it's it's one of the ones that I found in the archives, yo. So y'all mute up and let's take a look at this real quick.
I'm just starting on my age.
Hey man, I mean to disturb you, man, because you guys keep that down, the music.
Got you, boss.
Yeah. I'm just it's a little loud.
Oh, my bad, man.
Look
Nice
out.
to meet you, man.
Man, word.
All right.
Hey, yeah, man. Yo, check it out, man. Your TV, man, is a little too loud, man.
TV?
Yeah, man. You turn it down.
You hear the TV?
I can hear the TV right through the walls, baby.
Okay, we'll turn it down.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Yo, my man. Yo, you taking a shower, dog?
I was about to hop in.
Yo, man, your water's mad loud, dude.
You can't hear the shower in your room.
What mode you got it on, man? Put it on. Man, put it on squirt or something, man. Or scribble or some shit, man. Fuck, man. Scrubbing too loud, dog. I can hear you scrubbing your ass, nigga. I don't want to hear that shit. Yo, my nigga, man. What's up, man? Who's doodling, man?
That's bad.
Yo, man, your doodles are mad heavy, baby. What the fuck, man? Yo, man, hit the side of the bowl and let the doodle hit the side and let it roll into the water, man.
Yo, what does that even mean?
Don't do a direct splash, man.
The doodles are mad loud.
I swear to God, B.
All right, I'm gonna keep my doodles down.
Put the doodle on the side and let it roll into the bowl, dog.
Bash, let the doodle hit the side of the bowl and let it roll in.
You got some big doodles, nigga.
The doodle's too loud, Batch.
Me and my kid, man, we trying to sleep, man.
I'm gonna turn my doodle down, chill.
Loud doodle ass nigga. Yo, is that you blinking? Loud blinking ass nigga. Keep that shit down. I hear your eyelashes, nigga.
Hey, how's it going? I'm the manager here. Getting a few noise complaints.
Yo, man, who the fuck are you, man?
I'm the manager here. We're getting a few noise.
You need to be quiet. Tell niggas to be quiet, man. You loud as fuck, man. Trying to keep motherfuckers quiet, man. Shut the fuck up with that. Yo, do me this favor, man. Check on my daughter, see if she's all right. Fuck out of here, man. You saying sir too loud, dog. I'm trying to sleep.
Should I just...
Shut the fuck up, man. Talking to me, whispering. Too loud with that shit. Fuck, man. I'm trying to sleep, shit.
You gotta love Godfrey.
Right.
Godfrey is a clown, bro.
You've been doing this for a while, man. Oh my God.
Godfrey is a clown, dog.
You gotta love it.
Loud, baby. Your doodles is mad loud, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Roll on the side, toilet, and let it roll in.
I'm sick of it, B.
Done. I'm done.
How do you rate his accent, Kelly?
Huh?
How do you rate that New York accent?
He all right. He's way better than you know who.
That boy Godfrey crazy.
Yes. But so I just want to let y'all know that we welcome all honest and truthful answers in these conversations. We don't want y'all to hold back, okay?
Okay.
Because these are some questions that ladies want to know. So we want to put it out there and to get full transparency. You know, that's a new trending word. Full transparency. We want you guys to go full 100, okay?
400.
Yes, full
All
100.
right.
So we have an opening conversation because we're getting right to it, okay?
Let's
Our
go.
opening conversation today is women operating in their femininity / conditional femininity. So I've heard you guys give some talks about this topic, and we want you to give us some insight on the terms in which men use woman operating in femininity these days, right? So for me, I will say once a woman is a woman, she's naturally feminine, right? It's a characteristic of being a woman, unless your choice or preference is a different sexual orientation, and that's for another subject. You're automatically feminine. My thing is, do you actually use that word in replace of certain adjectives that are necessary? Say, for example, you may not be attracted to an aggressive woman. Doesn't mean she's not feminine. She's aggressive, however. And I think addressing the qualities that you don't like, as opposed to generalizing that she may not be operating in her femininity or conditional femininity, like when she chooses to, I think that addressing the actual attribute or adjective that you may not like or just is not interested in, because we all have that preference, that may actually open up conversations to deal with what's the problem at hand. Because the minute you try to tell a woman that she's not being feminine, it's to me like calling her out her name, because by nature she was designed to be feminine. It's there, it just may not have been brought to you in whatever situation that you encountered her with, right? So I want to have it in order. I want to shout it out to Tay first, then my homegirl B, then we gonna go to Ra, then JB. You like that order?
Okay, in that order.
Nope, switch it. I'm just playing.
Switch it. You want to go first,
I'm
Ra?
just playing. I'm just playing.
So
Kelly, don't forget
I'm going to the controversy king. I'm going to the controversy king first. I scripted it.
okay, I can shut both. I can shut this whole show down if you want. Not just playing. Not just messing. Oh yeah, messing with me. No, but I think that I think everything needs a balance, right? Everything. So when I hear conditional femininity, though, let me just start there. I hear two things. I hear a woman who may have to operate conditionally that way because of circumstances, and I also hear a woman operating that way because it's beneficial for her. So some women will operate in a certain level of femininity to, like they say nowadays, get the bag. And then some women operate in conditional femininity because they're a single parent mother and they don't have no help and they need to like pick it up and put it down. Because in this world, you're gonna need to have some assertiveness. And if you're a woman doing it alone, you're gonna have to kind of like you're gonna have to try to learn something that you're not really conditionally designed to do. So that right there, to me, it has a duality in that aspect. I think, for me, when I think about femininity, I think about the the softer part of the man that's not in him. You know what I'm saying? I think about the politeness, the kindness, the cooperation, the agreeableness. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. And then of course, when you get into marriage, the submissive part of the woman, things of that nature that will allow me to lead and be the lead. You know what I'm saying? If I'm providing an atmosphere for you to operate in your femininity, I would like for you to reciprocate that for me to operate in my masculinity, which is my leadership, my confidence, my competence. You know, So for me, it's a conditional femininity. For me, it has a certain different type of thing. Because I used to think that women was just using their femininity to get just the bag or whatever. That was it. Because for some reason some women put price tags on their femininity and on their bodies, low key, be real. So um I think that I think it's something that has to be. I think the femininity is something that needs to be more talked about in a pure form, opposed to with a hidden agenda, right?
Can you
Because
explain what that pure form is that you're talking about?
yeah, the pure form would be where you don't have to talk about men. See, what happens is a lot of times you get you see these platforms, it be women talking about femininity and all that kind of stuff, and then they always want to talk about a man. And that's not talking about femininity. I'm talking about in its purest form, the actual topic of femininity. What is femininity and what does it look like? How do you identify femininity? What do you look for in those things, right? And then when men have already spoken what they look for.
Remind us. Remind us. What
Yeah,
are
we
men
look.
talking
I
about?
said it before. We look for the softer part. We look for the agreeableness, the cooperation. We look for the respect, mainly respect, because the way women equate love, the way women feel about love,
Hmm.
that's how men feel about love with respect. We personify love and identify love with respect. And if I'm with a woman who does not show me that respect, then I don't feel loved. Now, see, if you're a selfish thinking woman, then you're gonna take offense to it and then talk about how a man is the problem and all that kind of stuff. Because that's what a lot of these platforms do. But if you really think about it, if you're trying to find out what men want and we're basically telling it to you, if you don't know how to operate in that, don't make it hard for the next woman who does know how to operate in that. Don't try to mess her up because you don't agree with the respect factor of men equating that with love, like how women equate romanticism with love. If he give me flowers, cards, and candy, he loves me, right? But at the same time, can tell that man, you ain't this, you ain't that. When I met you, so you gonna give me that? I gave you the flower cards and candy, right? But then you gonna give me the chit 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 chit. So then what?
Well,
You know what I'm
Tay,
saying?
let me ask you a question,
Mhm.
right?
Uh-oh.
Is it safe to say then that you don't like disrespectful women?
Well, yeah, I'm like disrespectful people, but when we talking about women, yeah, I don't
Right,
like all
because
disrespectful women, right?
she could still be feminine because she is feminine by nature and design, but she can just be a disrespectful woman.
Right, but that's not
Or
femininity though. See,
it,
being
it,
feminine,
it is femininity. It's just a feminine person, a female being rude
no,
in all
disrespect.
actuality.
I'm sorry, I have to disagree. Disrespect is a
Mhm.
character trait that shouldn't be. We're adults. You shouldn't disrespect me at all. Period. I'm not disrespecting you. Don't disrespect me.
Right.
Disrespect is not feminine, and femininity operates differently. If you are feminine, that has a lot to do with like the personification of you, right? But the femininity have certain characteristics that goes deeper than just what you look like on the outside. That goes with your personality, your character, how you were taught, raised, things of that nature. Now, you can still have femininity and still have a level of assertion with that femininity that does not come off disrespectful.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So this is the thing. If a man is telling you disrespect is something I don't tolerate, he's not talking about you being feminine. He's talking about the fact that he's a grown man and don't want to be disrespected because he's not disrespecting you. Those are just things you should just know. That's like human interaction one on one. You don't disrespect nobody. So to say, oh, she's feminine, she's just disrespectful. That's fine. You're just disrespectful, but
Mhm.
femininity is not
Mhm.
disrespectful. Masculinity is not disrespectful. See, these things, these character traits are not disrespectful in its nature. So that's an attitude problem somebody got. If you have an attitude with something and then you come off disrespectful, that's a
Mhm.
whole different topic. But we talking about operating in femininity and in the
Right.
other second, what it is and the components of it. There's nothing in femininity that's disrespectful. Absolutely nothing.
So you don't think that's an isolated human attribute? You think that it says that you're not feminine or you're not exercising femininity if you're just a rude person? Because I will beg to differ. Um, because I think that being disrespectful is across the board in humans. You could tend to be disrespectful no matter if you're male or female, operating in femininity,
Okay.
the attributes of a female, or masculinity, the attributes of a male. I just think that if you're disrespectful across the board, you're disrespectful. And I think that men do have an issue, rightfully so, with women approaching them in a disrespectful capacity. However, it doesn't mean that she's not exercising femininity. And maybe if it were to be addressed that way, specifically, then the conversation could go further than just this back and forth immediate banter because a woman is now trying to defend herself.
From what?
Defend herself because a woman doesn't want to hear that she's not who she naturally is. She may be disrespectful, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't exercise femininity. At that moment, at that specific interaction, she just may have been rude.
Okay, so if you're rude, if you're being rude at a certain moment, and if that's the case, then we're talking about how men see this. If I'm taking a woman out to dinner and she's rude to the waitress, in my eyes, she's not operating femininity, because if you look at femininity for what it is and masculinity for what it is, disrespect is not in the characteristics of either one of those attributes. So that right there to me is not a thing of femininity or whatever. Like you said, I agree with you on the point where you said it's about the fact that you're just a disrespectful person. Now, now that disrespectful, rude woman is going to be taken home early because I had more on that date to do with her and for her, but that's going to stop early because I don't tolerate disrespect. Men do not tolerate these things. Hold on. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, if you're talking about the way men look at it, I understand the way you're looking at it, but the way a man look at it, he doesn't look at it that way. That's why that rude, disrespectful woman is going to be alone.
Well,
because nobody's going to deal with that, and that's just not about relationships. That's just period. Like that's just with friendships too.
Before I hand it over to B, let me say this. So in that exact example that you gave, right? A man is that he takes a woman out to dinner and she's rude to the waitress. If he addresses the actual problem, like, you know, sweetie, that was really rude, and this lady's doing her job, and he takes the lead in that situation to address the fact that she's rude, at that point, she may be able to operate in her femininity and check herself at that point to say, oh, you know what? I came in here, my vibe was off when I came in here, and I really acted up. So at that point, this man didn't take his lead and didn't allow her the opportunity to be who she is naturally, because you're not addressing the actual issue. You're addressing a broader picture that does not, to me, coincide. But anyway, Tay, we'll come back to you. Let me hand it over to B. What do you think, Berakhah?
Yeah, both of you guys are making great points. I understand where you're coming from, Kelly, from a woman's perspective in totality, as far as how we look at situations. And the goal is to bring self-awareness in the hopes that will help to change a person's demeanor, right, or behavior. So I understand completely what you're saying when you're referring to whether it's masculine or feminine. And we can use that same example on the flip side with men, right? So you will have some women who will say, oh, well, I can't submit to this guy because he doesn't make X amount of money. And they will attribute a man's ability to make X amount of money to his level of masculinity, which is completely ridiculous, right? A guy could work at CVS, a guy could be a garbage man, a guy could work at the movie theater and could be making minimum wage. That doesn't mean he's less of a man. That doesn't mean that he's less masculine. It's just that his finances are at a certain level. So even if that woman is in a marriage with him, he still is a man worthy of respect. It's not based upon how much money that he makes, but it's the fact that he's just a man in general, right? So it shouldn't be based upon just a person's characteristic as to whether they are truly masculine or feminine, but it's a behavioral issue. Just like a woman would say, well, I can't really follow his lead because he doesn't make X amount of dollars. But just because he doesn't make X amount of dollars doesn't mean he's not a good leader. He just may be in a position financially at the moment that could prevent him from making said money, right? So what happens when these ideas that he has been cooking up all this time finally comes into fruition and he starts to make that kind of money? Is he now a man that's truly masculine and worthy of respect? No, he was the same man all along and worthy of respect. It's just that his finances didn't add up to what that particular woman saw as being truly masculine, because her version of masculinity is skewed. That's the reason why I have a whole issue with the term toxic masculinity, because masculinity is not toxic. It's just that dude over there who chooses to put his hands on women and treat his kids bad, he's toxic. It's not masculinity is toxic. Masculinity is perfect in the way that God designed it. I mean, even in like biblical days, you could see both masculinity and femininity in what Jesus showed, right? Typically, women are more in tune emotionally, right? But Jesus wept. So it's not like Jesus was less powerful because he cried over the death of his friend, because he turned right around and brought his friend back to life, showing his power in that moment, right? Or like the woman who committed adultery and they were getting ready to stone her in front of the city. And he laid his head on the ground, playing in the dirt and saying, "He who's without sin cast the first stone." So he had a level of compassion. Those are qualities that typically are attributed to women. Nevertheless, he exemplified it to perfection, right? So it's okay to be a man or a woman and still show the signs from different ways, right? And on the flip side, you have women where they may be truly feminine in its form, as far as even dainty in appearance, and be the type of woman who loves and supports her household. But there are times where a woman may have to kind of step up and step forward to fight for her household, to protect her household, to defend her household. When in a normal circumstance, that man may be the one to typically do that. But in this instance, it may be the one that's needed, right? So in that case, like you have in modern times where the woman may be the breadwinner for a certain period of time. Does that mean that her husband is not worthy of being the head? Does that mean that he's not masculine because she makes more money? No, it's just a set of circumstances that's going on at that time. And even if a woman's making more money, that doesn't mean she's less feminine. I'm sorry, Kelly.
I don't want them to get too much information on our other topic, B. Come on.
Oh, I'm not giving it away. I'm not giving it away.
Girl, you're giving them too much.
I'm not giving it away. No, not yet, because we got bombs we dropping today. Oh, this is just a sample. This is just a sample.
Hello, okay, fellas, if y'all listening, she just gave y'all some gems on what our feature topic is about. So I'm just letting you know, okay? She got me nervous for a second.
No, I'm not. Okay. But I mean, but you see it on both sides where sometimes a woman may have to take the charge financially. So say you have a situation where it's a lot of female physicians down here in Houston where the wife makes, $200,000, $300,000 a year, and the husband may be an electrician where he normally may make much less than her, right? So when the kids are young, he may opt to be at home with the children and work like a part-time job, so they don't have to put the kids in daycare. Does that mean that he's less of a man or less of a husband? No, that for that particular situation, it makes more sense for her to be the one to make the most money, seeing that her one career can make double what his career makes, instead of it being an egotistical type of situation and saying, well, no, she's the woman, so she shouldn't work and he can go work. But if he goes to work, he's not going to make as much as her. Therefore, your family has to sacrifice, your household has to sacrifice. Right. So we're talking about something that's just from a realistic standpoint. And I don't think that how much money you make equates to your level of femininity or masculinity. It's truly about having bad behavior. If you're the type of woman where you just respect a man's headship, respect him as your spouse, it doesn't matter if he's unemployed at the moment. He's still your husband.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that too, to connect, I guess the two things that both you and Tay were saying is it does have a level of behavior. Behavior, the conduct of the person depicts how they're behaving in their femininity or masculinity. And I think that in order to really expound on it, you just have to be specific in the exact attitude adjustment that needs to be done, because you could have a beautiful woman and she could come from an environment where she is defensive all the time, but she's feeling your energy, she's feeling your vibe, but she's acting in a customary behavior. You could say 2 words to her and you may be able to just calm that whole situation down being specific. But JB, tell me what you think.
You on mute, bro.
You're on mute.
Well, y'all definitely put a lot on the plate. Let me try to take it from an angle that I was paying attention to. I want to take it kind of from the philosophical point of view. Let's take it back to to just a social thing. If you feel that you're some type of person, right? There's one thing for you to feel it. It's another thing for what you output to other people. So that's, I'm thinking that topic on that level. I'm going back to what Tay's scenario was of a woman being rude at dinner to a waitress. Let's say if that was early in the stages of them getting to know each other. If that was early in the stages of getting to know each other, she is building the character to this man of who she is. And in the process of her building this character, she's telling this man that she's rude and disrespectful. Then it's going to be very difficult for that man to look into her femininity. You understand what I'm saying? It's going to be kind of hard to do that because you're introducing something that's not part of your character fully, but that's the first couple of things I see in the process of building your character. So say, for instance, the time lapses change. Say, for instance, that, them two knew each other for a long time and she developed the feminine character and he knows that she operates majorly in, or the majority of the time, in her femininity. At this time, if a scenario happened like that, if she's rude or disrespectful, then that's when the thoughts you said, Kelly, come into play, that he can say a few words and a couple of things that might adjust that, because he already knows the background of what she actually is composed of, which she operates regularly in her femininity. What I'm gonna back him on saying is that I can't figure that out if you're putting a different character on the table than what you choose to identify yourself of. Mm-hmm. If I say I'm a nice guy and I don't show you that, how can I demand the respect of being a nice guy? I can't be something I'm not if I'm not contributing that on the table. That's just from a philosophical point of view. If you're thinking of it that way, I can see both sides of it. But if you're talking from a man noticing, that's going to be very hard to do. I wouldn't per se snatch the whole identity of femininity from her and say she's not being feminine. I wouldn't do that. But it's hard to notice that even if she is, based on the characteristics she's giving me, I don't say that.
I agree. I do agree. And I think that Tay's example was perfect because it lends to so much different areas that we could touch into. So like what you just said makes sense to me in regards to, if I just meet this woman and she's behaving in this capacity, it's a totally different thing than if you know the qualities of the woman to be able to say, well, let me check her, because this is not who she normally is. She doesn't behave like this, but today she's being rude to this waitress. So I'm be like, sweetie, you being rude. However, I do think that normalizing, addressing bad behavior immediately can sometimes bring immediate resolve, as opposed to saying, yo, we leaving early and everything I had planned for you was done, because I didn't even get an opportunity to correct myself. I could have just hit my toe underneath the thing and snapped at her. Let's just say, for example, and you check me, be like, you know what, Tay? I'm sorry, sweetie. Give me 2 seconds.
But see, I'm gonna say something real quick about that. See, in doing that, now what you're asking me to do is reconfigure myself. And Jay made a perfect example. If I'm getting to know you and you're being rude, then how am I supposed to check you on something like that if I'm getting to know you, right? And so, and at the same time, it's like you have to understand too, is the fact that I'm not going to alter myself to fit whatever your issue is on that particular time or that particular moment. I'm not going to reconfigure myself and be like, I might say something like, "You good? You okay? You good? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good." You know what I'm saying? And you just keep doing your thing like nothing wrong. It's like, okay, this is I'm experiencing you. See,
Right.
and so that's the thing. We always do this a lot of times. We don't want to experience people. We want to change them and conform them into what we want them to be for us. And that's not how you identify the femininity and the masculinity. You don't identify it that way by trying to make somebody do what you would like for them to do for you, just in case you don't realize how you're coming off. I don't subscribe to that.
I see.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
definitely see.
Because your question was, I'm gonna put it right back up because I heard you very clearly. You said the word operating. See, operating in femininity. At that moment, you're not operating in it. If I'm doing something and I'm not operating in my masculinity, then that means that I have to deal with that part of me. Even if I'm like Berakhah said about, it's not like this man is putting hands and putting foots in you, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he's not operating in masculinity.
Right.
You know, he's operating in more manipulation, control, and things of that nature. The negative aspect of his behavior is what he's operating. But if you're really trying to connect with someone, then we have to have a standard somewhere. And if my standard is, okay, I like a woman who is not rude, especially to strangers, like a waitress or a cab driver, Uber driver, or whatever, because I've been a not Uber, but cab driver before, and people will be rude all the time. And in my mind, I'm like, I could just imagine how their significant other at home is feeling. Because my experience for the first 5 minutes was cringy and uncomfortable. So being around that for 8, 9, 10 hours, I could just imagine. So that's the thing. When you're operating in something, you don't have to try to be it. You are it. You know what I'm saying?
So yes, and I do see where we differ. But before I send it over to Ra, let me just say this. So say, for example, we're still using the dinner concept, right? And you could have gotten to dinner and you probably just got a phone call, and that phone call made you irate, right? You didn't shake that energy off as yet. And you come to the table and it's visible and you behaved initially in that energy. I think that it's fair for me to say, you know, oh my gosh, you know, that was a little rude or such and such. It's not taking me out of my place in any way asking a question. What it's doing is confirming if that's your behavioral habit or not. So it wouldn't be a challenge for me to say, you know, like you said, are you okay? Because that was really rude. If you snap back at me, then I know that you're a rude person. If you collect yourself, then I understand that that was just a moment. And what I did was gave you the opportunity to show me who you really were, not to change you, but to actually show me who you really are. So I think that once again, coming from what I said in the beginning, addressing the actual problem, being disrespectful or rude, may be the way to address certain situations, because then you could come to the problem, the solution of to say, is this person really a nasty woman, or did this woman have a nasty moment? But Ra, let me hear what you think.
Yeah, first of all, I agree with everyone in certain aspects of everyone's explanation. I heard two important words within everybody's conversation explanation of their idea, and two things that stood out were qualities and preference. I was raised by my mother. My mother is one of the most sweetest, most nurturing people in the world. That's my definition of femininity. So when I'm out here in the world and I am searching for a woman, or I'm I have my idea of what a woman should be, I'm going to measure that form of femininity. You know what I'm saying? The cooperation, the communication, the nurturing, the respectfulness. You know what I mean? Now, if that's not your quality, I'm not going to say you're not feminine. You're just not my type of femininity. You're not operating in the way that I prefer a woman to act. So I'm never going to say a woman is not feminine, but you're not feminine to the aspect of the definition that me and my brothers here feel that we need to be. Now, I also agree. Have the conversation. You go out, you notice that there's a point when y'all out, let's use dinner, that she may have been rude, standoffish, whatever the case may be. I'm not gonna dead this interaction off that. I'm going to keep it in my mind. Okay, look out for that. If it continues, let's have a conversation, because I don't really rock like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to tell a woman she's not feminine, but I do have a preference, and I don't believe femininity includes not being a woman 100% of the time. You know what I mean? Everybody has bad traits. I'm not judging anybody, but if you're in a situation where you're in a relationship where you're trying to get to know somebody, or you're communicating on a certain level with someone, and if somebody is not okay with those type of behaviors, then you got to expect those interactions may not continue. And then if you talk about it and it still doesn't, and nothing changes, me personally, I'm going to have to fall back. You know what I mean? So it's just preference and qualities. If your qualities are, you can be mean sometimes, you can get attitude, you bipolar, whatever, cool. It's not going to work for me.
He said cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's not going to work.
So I also agree. I do also agree. However, I think that we definitely have to have conversations. You know what I mean? Conversations are necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We adults out here, y'all. We not kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When I was a little kid, and the little girl would come up and smack me upside my head and trip me on the playground, okay, I ain't talking to her no more. Forget you.
You're not a friend.
You know what I'm saying? Like, forget you. But now I'm an adult. If a female has an issue with how I am or something that I do, and we're in communication, dating or whatever, let's talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So we are going into topic number 2. It's a hot trending topic, and exactly what Ross said. Let's talk about it. So we're going to start off with Ra on this one, and then we're just going to go in order. JB, Tavez, and my girl B. This topic is trending now because our sister in our head, Miss Nia Long, was cheated. Man. You know that was coming, Ra.
I should have.
You should have known, right?
Kelly been raised since Friday.
So what my question is why do men cheat? Ra, let's start with you. Simple.
Insecurities, and whatever lack of fulfillment you're not getting in your relationship. Simple. I can't think of nothing else, because there's a certain sense that, and I'll speak on myself, that I'm not saying that I've cheated for this reason or cheated at all in that matter, but or it could be a sense of, okay, this is not really what I want to do. I want to have this, but I still want to be out here in the street. It's a mentality. You know what I mean? Insecurities, lack of fulfillment, a mentality. You know what I mean? And you gotta live with that. You know what I'm saying? So I think men do it just based off that. You know, we're not fulfilled. We need more, or we're just insecure in our relationship. We're not getting something that's making us feel like we're less than who we are.
So I like what you just said. And to me, it's either or, right? You're either unfulfilled, and that directly leads to you stepping out of the relationship, or the insecurities will never allow you to be satisfied in the relationship. So you go
Absolutely.
out there to fuel the things. Do I get what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. JB, the gent. Let me hear how you gonna put this together.
Oh, come on now. It's immaturity for me.
That's all I'm saying.
All right.
We just gonna go ahead and call a spade, man. Immaturity. I'll say everything. I agree with Rob though. But in a capsule, immaturity.
Yeah.
I said before in previous podcasts that marriages are underrated and relationships are overrated. And I definitely believe that. It's because of the way that society actually made it, and the way that people look into relationships. They coming in with an immature point of view. They are all about themselves. They don't have communication values. They just it causes the overrating of the dating relationship and the underrating of marriages. You know what I'm saying? Because of that, you just being immature. It is clearly an easy option to get out of a situation that you're in.
Absolutely.
Especially in the country that we live in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even if it was on a legality point of view, it's a real easy way to do so. Your fault, your failure and attempt to do so and just try to have your cake and eat it too is showing the immaturity and the person that you are. That's all it is. And even if you're not even married, it's even easier than that. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have no document saying I have to do whatever for you, I could just walk off. I could just say it ain't working. I can just go ahead and leave. So, I mean, what makes it so difficult to go ahead and to just walk away from something you not liking and go to something that you might like? If you're in that headspace, just be that. People don't want to be characterized as an a-hole, but if you are, just go ahead and be one. I mean, it is what it is. I don't understand, but it's just immaturity. That's all it is. You're immature. You
like why don't we leave? Like why don't we leave? Why doesn't anybody leave?
Right.
I want to know that. That was going to be one of my questions. Why not just leave? And it's because I think that falls underneath one of the things that you said, which is insecurity. You don't want to leave because you don't want to deal with any adverse effects. You probably don't want to be alone. Circumstances, you could be a hobo friend, whatever the case may be, right? The insecurity. So, okay, hold on. We got unfulfillment, insecurities, and immaturity. So we got three things, the reasons why men cheat. Yep. Let me hear what you got to say.
Talk to him, Busy. That boy, y'all see that smile?
It's a wrap. Yo, youthful lust and fleshly desires cause us to cheat. Same reasons why women cheat too. You want to play this little adventurous, thrilling game, and it's good for the moment because you ain't got caught yet. And as soon as you get caught, now you want to get serious and you want to be humble and you want to use God and you want to use the scripture and be spiritual and have the Holy Ghost and everything. Once you get caught being immature, youthful lust, I mean, for real, at the end of the day. And the example you just gave is a perfect example. You got this man. He's been with this woman for 10 years, over 10 years. They got a child together. They never got married. They got engaged in 2015. They never been married. That's on both sides. They never got married. And there's no reason why not to. And then he's in an organization where he can do whatever they want to do. It's just like working in the plant. You got the work wives and the work husbands and all that. But see, people play with these words and these concepts. Then they get real. And then they like, oh my God. He's a cheater. Like, okay, what'd you expect? If you put a kid inside of in a room full of toys, he gonna play with one of them.
What? Yeah, you throwing me off. I'm not getting what you saying, boo.
What you mean, boo? If you put JB said immaturity, Unfulfilled is what Rob said, right?
Yep.
And insecurity. So what's
Insecurity,
yours?
that's all in the
Because I
title.
want you to go out in the world of candy. I want you to see the 10s, the 20s. I want you to see all of it, but you're not supposed to be able to touch it just because it's out there. So I don't get where the kid in the candy store come from.
But when you operate in that immaturity and that youthful lust, you start
Okay.
touching stuff, you know.
So youthful lust.
Yeah.
You're not mature yet to understand that you could look but don't touch.
Yeah, if you put a man child in a room full of women, and he look at them like little toys, then all of a sudden, there it is. Yeah, I like whoever
Let me write these down. Ladies, are y'all getting this in the chat? Hold on, let's go again. We have insecurities. I'm taking notes here.
Yeah. Who Shinsi one? I appreciate you. That's lack of self-control. All of that.
Okay, so we have youthful lust, lack of self-control. We putting that there.
Yep.
I'm taking notes, ladies. We're gonna talk about this after. Lack of self-control.
It's really cooking up something in her brain, dog. This is
hello. Immaturity. Okay.
I'm seeing this. It's not good.
Immaturity and being in an unfulfilled relationship.
Youthful lust is something that we don't talk about.
Okay, we're gonna deal with youthful lust, lack of control, because when you're immature, you don't have self-control. So you're not able to go into the candy store and appreciate what you see without taking it any steps further. Like, I don't mind if my guy appreciates beauty, but to translate it and take it into another form of lusting over this woman, that's where the immaturity comes in, right? And the lack of self-control. Because if you're a beautiful person, period, everybody who has eyes is going to notice this thing. But where you take it from there is a matter of maturity versus immaturity / youthful lust. Right, Tay? Am I getting it right? Pull.
Oh, she did it.
She did it.
Where you at, Tay?
I caught it though. I caught it though.
Boy,
she tried to throw the interception. I had to.
You got that boy right.
Say it.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, B, bring it home, B. Let me hear you.
Yeah, everyone is right. Everybody has made really good points. I think the total sum of all those different things just really encompass a lack of godly principles. That's really the surmise of it all. What is your foundation? What is your anchor? If you are the type of person where you're anchored in righteousness, you're anchored in godly principle, it will prohibit you from doing a lot of different things. Not saying that you won't make mistakes, but you won't be engrossed in those type of mistakes just because of where your foundation lies.
Right. And I agree with that, because your moral compass will be definitely different. You understand? You're definitely going to look at things differently. So within that spiritual godly alignment, it's going to prevent you from making certain decisions because of that spiritual and godly compass. You know what I mean? So I do agree with it. I'm loving it. We're going to put that down, because now we have a diagram for why men cheat. It's a lack of godly principles.
I know you also touched on how people stay, and I think part of the reason why women may stay, other than there may be some financial reasons as to why they're not able to leave in situations like that, but a lot of it may pertain to sometimes women really fool themselves into thinking he doesn't know any better. Like he made a mistake, when men are fully aware, not stupid, very conscious of the decisions that they make, not just flying off on the cuff when it comes to how they live life. I mean, I see how my husband operates, and often before he presents an idea to me about a business or something else that he wants us to do as a collective, he's already thought it out and through, like for 2 weeks before he even mentions it to me. So I feel like if a man can be that thorough with thinking a thought all the way through, a concept all the way through, before even communicating that to his own spouse, I don't think that it's just on a whim that a man may decide to step out and cheat. It's not like you're in a situation where she literally just, a chick just threw it on you. You know what I mean? You didn't slip, trip, and fall in it kind of thing. Like, so I think in
Right.
those types of cases, like, is where a guy just made the conscious decision just to run with this pride and the spirit of lust. I'm just going to do what I feel like doing at this point,
Mhm.
instead of just
Well,
really thinking it truly through, or not thinking it truly through, and just acting out on a whim. I don't think that that's the case. I think the same thing for women as well.
okay, and
Well,
I
I
fully
imagine it's
agree.
the same case with women. Like it sounds like, yeah, it can go across the board for real.
Right. So here's my thing. When you're looking to be in a committed relationship, marriage, because I do agree, marriage is underrated. Relationships, or hooking up, shacking up, it's overrated because we don't get to that level of commitment mentally. So that's why we get stuck into these situations. Like you said, somebody's in a relationship from since 2015. That's a problem now. We're grown. We need to start normalizing the commitment that's involved in this relationship and pushing it towards marriage. However, we have some keys here now for when you are going into a committed relationship and you are venturing into marriage. You want someone who is not dealing with insecurities where a relationship is concerned. You're not immature in regards to relationships, right? You're not exuding youthful lust, lack of self-control, and you have godly principles. I think if you start to implement these things, because this is what we discussed, then it can lead to fruitful, faithful relationships moving forward. Because if you have these things, then that means that person is not the one you need to be looking into to go into marriage with. Because the chances are that these things are going to affect them, male or female. Well, we're talking about men right now, and push them towards situations to step outside. Now, closing this off, I'll say in regards to the Nia Long situation, we know and love Nia Long as a character. We don't know her personally. We don't know who she is as a real person. We've got to love and know her as a character. So we don't even know what she's bringing or not bringing to the table in her relationship to say why this man behaved in such a way. However, going back to what Tay and B said, why don't you just leave? Because hurting that other person with your behavior is unacceptable. To destroy somebody else's feelings because you have either one of these things that we discuss, it should be frowned upon. You can leave. So and they're both in financial situations not to be dependent on one another.
Yeah,
So, he could have just left if he wasn't satisfied, if he was but if he's feeling insecure, then he ain't going nowhere. He gonna get that cake and eat it too. So, ladies, gents, we're gonna put the criteria on our Instagram, so you should all follow us, the Maleroom View and BK All Day 358, and hit us up and let us know what y'all think. We're gonna put that information up for y'all so y'all can see the criteria, finding a good man or woman who ain't gonna cheat on you. So, Tay, do you got any intro stuff for our feature discussion of the night?
Oh, you want the sauce?
Give us some sauce, Tay. Come
Cook it
on.
up, Billy.
You
Thank
want the sauce?
you.
I'm on my production right now, girl. I'm on my
Come
TV.
on, pull it, pull. Let me hear
Well,
it.
hey, since I'm
You want an instant pull? Oh yeah, y'all got me laughing.
Exactly, B. All right. Our last and feature topic for tonight is a big one, but B did introduce it. So I want y'all to build on that. If you guys remember, right, the question is, are men only seen as leaders in relation to money? And do men think of themselves as leaders if they're not financially adequate? I'm going to let JB start with this one.
That's a good choice.
She would say
He's the
whatever.
gent. Come on now, he's the gent. So we got to get the gentleman answer. And I'll ask it again. Are men only seen as leaders in relation to money? So if you don't got the bag, do you think that women don't interact with you as a leader because of her skewed perception of a high earning man as opposed to a high valued man?
Well, some women are like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I keep everything on an individual basis. You know what I'm saying? You know, we can generalize as much as we do with men and women, but there are some women that link that, and it was kind of relative to what we talked about before about they linking that to the masculinity of the men. You know, the what they earn, and some people are just miscued like that. Some people are just living in a fantasy world like that. There are men that do that too. You know, thinking that concept is true. You know what I'm saying? That concept is, you know, the more I make, you know what I'm saying, the more she'll follow me, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. It all is based on the characteristics of the man. See, you know, if you had so you can't be something you're not. I always say this. You cannot be something you're not. You can't act like it. If you didn't have an upbringing of someone that was a leader, and you seen those leader characteristics without money, then you can't be that. You will always think the latter. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, men can be leaders, you know, regardless of monetary value. You know what I'm saying? The leadership trait is an immeasurable trait. That's invaluable. There's no money to limit that can say that. If I'm able to run a household based on the monetary factor or the income that I have and have kids and a wife, and based on that, and no matter what the trial and tribulation might come about in the household, if I'm able to maintain the central point of the household being a family, then that man is a leader.
Right.
Period.
I fully agree. I fully agree with what you're saying. Some of the things that women experience, and I'll put this on the table, is abuse in relationships when certain men are not financially adequate, right? A lot of women's stories lead to being physically abused because at that point, the man feels he's insecure, right? And then takes it out on the woman at that point. So understanding that women have that perspective, I fully agree with what you said, that man is going to be a leader, the leader of his family, his household, without that the bag, you know. And if that man has issues, he's going to have issues regardless of if he got the bag or not. Kind of, that's what you're saying, that he's gonna be
Definitely
and show
so. I
up.
mean, even in a corporate standard, you know what I'm saying? Even in a corporate standard, a leader to a group will go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, distribute the assignments accordingly to what the people are able to do. He will take on the recompense of what happens and according to what the operations is. He will go ahead and make sure that whoever's following him are, you know what I'm saying, beneficial to the goal at hand. He will go ahead and go through the issues during trying to make the goal possible and take them on with them. That's a leader.
Right.
You can have all of that without having that bag, quote unquote. The woman can have the bag, but still see the leader in the guy. That's
right.
possible.
I agree with that. Because a leader is a leader regardless of the bag, regardless of the money that he's holding, right? And one of the things I want to put out there on both platforms is that we need to start normalizing the characteristics of a leader void of money, because that's one of the conversations B and I have on a continuous basis, in even understanding the terminology of this high valued man that became so popular, when in essence they were talking about a high earning man, and that man was the man who they gave the credit to. So a lot of females now are associating a good man by the back. But Tay, what you say?
Why are you coming to me? I should have been
Why
last.
not? You want to go last?
No, well, first of all, JB led us to this great answer. So thank you, my guy, for that answer was polished very well. I totally agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And there's a for some reason there's an understanding gap that has taken over because there's so many misconceptions of this particular terminology of high value versus high earning and all this kind of stuff. And it's a whole bunch of nuances and details to it that, to be honest with you, I don't care about. So all I'm trying to do is when I wake up in the morning and I start my day, I'm trying to make sure that I fulfill the things that I need to do for my day. So that way that my household is cool and my mom's is straight because I take care of my mom's too and everything. We cooling, we chilling. I make sure I do that. And then at the end of the day, I'm fine. If I go to bed and I'm at peace with God with whatever I did that day, I'm good. Okay. My value is not based on my money. Because even when I didn't have any money, I still had some value. You know what I'm saying? When I was homeless, I still had value. And I did not act like I didn't have value when I was homeless. My guys know my story. I didn't mope around too much. Oh, I was going through it every day, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of that. But that did not make or break me because I kept working, I kept going, I kept fighting. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that those things are more valuable than my situation.
Right.
And what we have to stop doing is we have to stop putting price tags on ourselves, equating it to money, and then when somebody objectify us, we want to be a victim. That goes for men and women.
Right.
Men be like, oh man, she just used me. Yeah, because all you did was flash your money because that's all you got. You don't got nothing else. You don't have no personality, you're not funny, you don't have no character.
No substance.
All you're doing is taking the thing that the thing that she value about you, she just taking that and fulfilling herself with that. And meanwhile, you like, man, she just using me. No, she not. She's responding to what you're giving out. You're giving out poor, weak boy behavior, so she's going to receive that. And that's what she's about. So that's two immature people exchanging immature insecurities. Like, no, man, we talking about some grown folk stuff.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm trying to fulfill my purpose on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? And that can come in so many different ways. But as long as I impact somebody, as long as I'm good, as long as I'm able to take care of my household, I'm straight, I'm cool. Before I moved here to Indy, I was homeless. Now, if I would have tried to holler at a woman while I was homeless, man, no woman gonna holler at me. Not in my mind. Because if you putting a price tag on what you value as far as money, and you don't value me. So I know where you at. I ain't got to worry about nothing. But I don't value that kind of stuff, man. I agree with Jay. It's not about that. Because if all you have is money, then you don't have nothing. You have nothing. Money is going to come and go. Heaven and earth will pass away.
Right.
Heaven and earth is going to pass away. All this is going to be gone. Everybody's on equal. It's so funny because everybody try like fighting for equality. Everybody equal when they die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's only when you're alive and you have all these rights and privileges and things, and then you want to fight for all this kind of stuff. And it's the same way with just relationship and tying into the fact that a man, you saying, hey, I'm only a man if I have this money, because his whole identity is into that. He needs an epiphany. He needs an awakening. He needs somebody to shake him up and say, hey, man, you're more valuable than just money or get it in bag or whatever the case may be. And that's a whole lifestyle and mindset that is so artificial to reality. The reality of the matter is this: everybody get a bill every 30 days, including those people on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago, Nashville, Tennessee, Florida, everybody. Every 30 days, your light will be cut off if you don't pay them boys. So don't give me that fluff. You dig? You know what I mean?
No fluff.
Yeah, I don't want no fluff. Don't give me no fluff. At the end of the day, we all paying bills. We all trying to maintain what we have for the comfortability of our families. All this shucking and jiving about my leadership is dependent on money and all that kind of stuff. Again, that is a characteristic. That is something that you learn how to be, or you are born into that. But either way, that doesn't define me. My money, my wallet, what's on my credit cards, it does not define me. What defines me is who I am, the way I speak, the way I stand up for truth, my operation in love. These are the things that I'm standing on, not this money stuff. Stuff is nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
I agree. You said one key word that a lot of people omit from all of these platforms that discuss relationships, and it's love, operating in love, right? You can have these relationships and you see that they're forward in regards to that high earning man and how much this man has, all of these fictitious sentiments, I'll say. And there's no mention of love in any of the relationships, not whatsoever. And when you start to incorporate that, love is the greatest gift of all,
Yes.
right? It is eternal. It is forever. It's the Alpha, it's the Omega. It is the essence of God Himself. So when you eliminate that from the relationship that we don't hear people talking about, it's easy to put a value on it, a monetary value, which we can't live up to, we can't sustain, because at the end of the day, it does not equate to value. It can't hold a relationship together. It can't unify us. It puts you in a position to use the person. Like you said, you want to use that person to get from one, situation to another. And you basically being a liability if you really want to look at it. If we thinking about checks and balances here. Any woman who's after a man's money, that means that she's depleting his funds. Whether you a trust fund pocket or whether you 9 to 5 in it on the lower end, it doesn't matter. If a woman is after you for your bag, you could consider that money gone. She is a liability.
Kelly.
Yes.
Pull.
Pull.
You done started.
Pull. Bap. Yes. Well, Ra was coming to you next.
Man, that was a very powerful statement. That last one, absolutely. I agree with both of my brothers. I agree with JB's point of it's not all women. Us three up here, we've definitely met some very high quality women who just appreciate who we are, want to add to us. But I also feel like we us men have to know our own value. Me personally, I'm going to make sure that my household is taken care of. I'm going to make sure that everything I got to do is taken care of so I can feel the fulfillment of myself. And then if I can pour that into another person, then I will. And even if I decide to pour that into another female, another woman, she still might not feel that that's enough. And that's okay. My house is taken care of. My bills are taken care of. Everything is good. I'm good. If what I'm doing is not enough, exit left. No problem here. We still going to be good. It's not going to deplete me. I know who I am. I know how far I've come. I still got a lot of progression to make within myself and the things I want to accomplish, but I know where I am. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm fulfilled with how far I've come. I'm not satisfied with where I am, but I'm going to continue to progress and get to a level where I'm just secure in every single aspect of my life. Because I've been very blessed. You know what I'm saying? I was in between jobs for 3 years. 3 years in between homes. You know what I mean? And when I was finally able to get my stability back, I just like, okay, focus on this for a minute, Rob. Don't worry about coming out here finding a woman just because you know what I'm saying, you getting things together. Don't still focus on you. If a woman is willing to come into your life and accept you for where you are, and if she's willing to help you build, go with it. But I'm not going to define it because of what you want. This issue has been an issue for a long, long time. But these last few years, I feel it's talked about a lot more about the value of men is more so on the monetary end. That's how women value it. You know what I mean? It's been around for forever, but these last few years has really been enhanced. Now, I've been trying to figure out how we got here, but I'm not gonna let it knock me off my square. And I think a lot of these women really need to figure out what are you valuing. You know what I mean? What were you doing before you met me? How were you taking care of yourself before you met me?
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? So now you're looking for a man to either give you something you didn't have or try to enhance what you have. What you have is less than what I have, but you want me to enhance that. And like Kelly just said, then you'll be taken away from me.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Building with you.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
Right. I agree. And I think that with the platforms that we are starting here, we have to start normalizing the term high earning man versus the high value man, because
That's a very
the
good question.
values do not equate to money. It cannot be bought. Everything that you would think the values are, you cannot buy them. You can't purchase them. So we need to start normalizing that conversation and calling it for what it is. Do you know what I mean? If you want money, then go find a scammer, because they don't care about the money that they losing. You know, and I tell B, like, gold diggers and scammers belong together. Their lifestyles coincide. You know what I mean? And I think that once we start addressing things for exactly what they are, which I'll loop back into our first topic, start addressing the actual issues that we are having, then we could progress. Because to me, it's just careless banter. We're going back and forth, and we're not really solution driven. But if we start to address the actual problem, the actual issues, then it allows us to take another step forward in a direction for productivity, I guess. Well, B, let me hear what you got to say.
Oh, yeah. So the fellas, everybody, you made really good points on the topic. Yeah, I totally agree with what everyone is saying. And a lot of it really falls back into what's the mission for your marriage? That's really what things fall back on. Because there are things that are not conditional. Like submission in a marriage is not conditional. And headship is not conditional based upon finances. A lot of it just really comes down to, do you submit to the mission of your marriage? And that's for both sides. When you are married and this is the person that God ordained you to be with, there is an assignment for you as individuals, and there's an assignment for you as a couple. And so when you submit to that mission, even when your spouse is not on their best behavior, even when the finances are not where you want them to be, you still understand at the end of the day what the mission is. And so you stay focused on that. And that will get you to where you need to be. When we're talking about a man's ability to lead based upon finances, what do you think happened in the Bible days when people didn't have coins or cash like how we do now, right? A man's financial status may have been based upon his amount of livestock that he may have acquired and those sorts of things, right? But you also have men in the Bible who did not have a lot of money, right? But they were sound in mind and in heart. They were humble. They were full of the qualities that are necessary in order for you to lead your household effectively and ultimately come into the purpose that God has made for you. And therefore the money comes after that, right? So ultimately that still is the base, is being able to submit to the mission that God has for you. And everything else will fall into play. I mean, you see situations where the finances change. At one point in time, the wife may be making more than the husband may make more than the wife. You can't talk to him crazy because all of a sudden now you're making more money than him. Or you can't downtrodden her because all of a sudden you make more money than her. At the end of the day, the money still goes into the same pot. So basically what he's making is what she's making, what she's making is what he's making, because it's all going in together for the greater good, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what the whole thing is about. And a lot of times I think the misconception that comes along with submission is, well, the man leads, he's a leader. But in order to be an effective leader, you have to serve. You're a servant leader.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you're not leading from the front, you're leading from the rear. When we had wars, you think throughout history, when we had wars, you didn't have the colonel, the sergeant, the general, whoever was in charge, and I'm going to lead the battle from home, and the rest of y'all get out here on the battlefield and risk your life. They were standing right there in tow with their troops. And if that man lost his life, then he lost his life. That's what that was. So at the end of the day, it's not a dictatorship, right? That's not how this works. So I think that's where that misconception comes from. And as women, our level of submission isn't based upon a husband's behavior. Because sometimes, to be honest, he may get on your nerves, but he still is your husband, right? So there's still an order of things that happen. And as women, as long as we are aligned, and where we're supposed to be with our purpose, even if the man isn't at the target of where he needs to be, you stay aligned, you stay focused, you do your part, you submit to God. God will put him to whatever position he needs to be in to switch it up. You're going to run yourself stir crazy trying to get a man to where you want him to be. Let God do the work on him, and you continue to work where you're supposed to work. And the things work out for the greater good. That's when the blessings really come in. And that's so when the Bible talks about the woman being the favorite, that's what that is. That's what that is. So many of us are alive right now based upon our grandmother's prayers. Facts.
Yes.
Facts.
Yes.
We had
I
praying
believe that's
grandmothers, and that's the reason why we still here, right? So there's a strength that comes in from having that woman be your covering, right? That man may be leading things from the helm, but that woman is still that covering. And so there's an amount of favor that comes along with that. So it's really just up for us as women, like as wives, to understand our goal with that and not step out of line with that, and allow God to do whatever work he needs to do. And then he will grow you as far as your finances from there. But it's not based upon what a guy makes. So it's ultimately, the ball is in our court for men and women, and to choose wisely, not choose a husband because he makes X amount of money. Because what happens when the money's gone, right? You know, what kind of caliber of man is he? What is his principles? What is his anchor? What is his character? Because if he is a man who is led by God, if he is a man who submits to the mission for that marriage, he's going to act accordingly, regardless if he got $3 million in the bank or $2 in the bank. It's going to be the same thing. So ultimately, that's really where the focus comes from. It's not based upon a man's money as to whether he knows how to lead. It's really, does he hear the voice of God and follow that mission? That makes a difference.
By the end of the day, I'm gonna try to make that $2 I don't care. That's what it's about.
Can I interrupt for a second? Because we have some great questions I want to get to.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do, Taylor.
Can we do that
Bring
real
them
quick?
out. Bring them out.
I want to go to this one right here. I think this one is tailor made for me.
Yeah.
The conversation is very the conversation is very centered on men leading financially in a relationship. However, there are other ways to lead in a relationship as a man. Facts. To the men, in your opinion, how should a man be leading? How should a man be leading? A man should be leading with love.
Okay.
Point blank, period. Love is the center of everything else. Everything else is just additives. It's just the rewards. It's like it's like even though when you're in a relationship, especially in a marriage, when love is the focal point of a marriage or a relationship or courting or whatever you're doing, dating or whatever, especially when you get to a point where you're like where you being what they call it betrothed, but it's like you're engaged, right? We have fiancés and stuff like that. That's when it gets close to the real deal, right? You've already had these talks and discussions. How a man lead is with love. He has to lead operating in love, right? Because men. I'm not talking about Ray Rays and Pookies. I'm talking about men. Men are lovers. We are lovers. Hey, look. We're not talking about Pookies and Ray Rays over here, okay? We talking about men. We talking about men that contribute to society and to their families. Society and family is society. Let's get that straight.
You mean we not talking about Nug Nug?
No, we ain't talking about Nug Nug. We ain't talking about Pookie men. We ain't talking about nothing. We sick of these dudes. All right, we talking about men.
Sick of them. We just sick of them.
Sick of these dudes. These weak dudes. I'm sick of them.
You're right.
We talking about men who operate and do what they got to do, and they do it in a spirit of love and care for the people that they are responsible for. Because when a man is saying that he takes this woman to be his wife, he is saying that I love her and I'm responsible for her. So I will cherish that. And you protect and you love and cherish the things that you have that's in your vicinity. So love is the nucleus of everything that you benefit from and that I benefit from. It's in the center of love. So I have God's grace because he loved me. I have his mercy because he loved me. He gives me blessings because he loved me. He gives me miracles because he loved me. Because that's why. Not because I did something good, not because I fried chicken the best at the church, not because I gave a homeless man $1. It ain't got nothing to do with your works. It has everything to do with your spirit. And if you operate in a spirit that is contrary to love, then you don't know yourself, and you ain't gonna know. Of course, I know you don't know God at the end of the day, because there is a spiritual connotation to relationships as well. That's the reason why God designed us the way He designed us. Because we have to operate in our natural state. And that's the natural state of men. We lovers. We love when a man is passionate about something, you can see it. Like he love it. Like if a man, if you see a man that love cars, right? You will see the excitement. You know what I'm saying? I love football. Okay, I'm just giving you a surface level of me. I love football. When I was watching the game today, I was glued. I had cooked me a nice little breakfast, little brunch or whatever, and everything. And it was cold by halftime because I'm so into the game and I love it so much that's where my passion has my attention. Let me say that again. My passion has my attention. So because I'm passionate about it, I invest and my interest is in it. And that's the same way with a man with a woman. You know what I'm saying? If I'm passionate about the woman that I'm with, then you're gonna get my attention. Now it's up to you. Now I am also a man, so you're not going to abuse my attention so much so to the point where you use it for some other agenda. We're not talking about that, but we're talking about that reciprocated operation of leading. You know what I'm saying? Like a man should lead with love. Is love. You should, if you don't see, ladies, if you don't see any type of love in a guy, and it comes over time. If you don't see any type of love in a guy, it's like it's something to think about. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but it's something to put a bullet point right there. Be like, hold on, because at the end of the day, and she said, "Tell for the people in the back, all the way back there." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like without his love, I ain't got nothing.
Right.
I mean, I'm nothing. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times people be like, and if you notice this, like when people compliment you, when people say nice things and they praise you and speak well of you, and as they should, you know, like when you have those things that people do, when they do that, all they doing is eulogizing the God factor in you. They're expressing it, they're praising it, they're speaking well of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, are you such a sweet person? Oh, you such a kind person? That's a godly trait.
In you, yeah.
I don't want to be like that because, like Berakhah said, you can get on my nerves sometimes, and I might be liable to say something. But because I don't operate in those things, I don't operate in that nature. I'm operating in a different nature. Now I can actually express myself in the nature that I know that I'm operating in. So I won't be rude to people. I won't be disrespectful. I won't be using people's loyalty against them and talking about them behind their back and doing all kind of craziness. I'm not going to do none of that because I'm operating in love. I'm not operating in what I want and in selfishness and none of that greed. I'm operating in love. And that's how men should be leading. They should be leading with love, in love.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to Tay on that one, bro.
Tay.
Absolutely.
That's what's up, man. Hey, I got a request though.
Really?
I got a request though. There was a question: how can a woman communicate and or support her man during a period of financial instability? I should take that, ladies. Somebody give me an answer on that one. It was asked.
Well, let me say something. I'll bring it from Tabe into the question, right? So to really now enunciate on how a man leads in love, it's love allows you to be considerate. Love allows you to be in tune. Love allows you to be sensitive. Love allows you to be strong, right? Those are the qualities that are necessary in the value and the concept of leadership in a relationship, right? Void, and we're not talking about the money, void of the money. Love allows you to be compassionate. Love allows you to endure, right? So when you're in the relationship, these are the attributes that come from love. It's not selfish, right? So when you're operating in love, you're giving, you're vulnerable. So to now expound on those things, these are the qualities that the man has that is superior to the bag. That's the things that hold value and fuel productivity, light, grace, favor in your relationship, right? And to answer the question now, from Truth Be Told, the reciprocated end is how you support the man during a stage of financial instability by consideration, by submission, by all of the things that are governed under that same principle of love. By understanding, you want to understand that men do feel a way when they're financially inadequate. So you don't want to, jump on your high happy horse now and aggravate this Negro, because you know that he is in a sensitive place of being. So you will share understanding with him, right? You will allow yourself to be patient in his presence, because for a man to not be his best in a financial state, it's a form of weakness and vulnerability on him. And if you can't connect to that, then you can't allow him the space and the time that he needs to strengthen himself up and get back to where he needs to be, that's satisfactory to him. So it's the same principle of love and all the things that are underneath that umbrella that shows the support of that man, that can lift him up in a space of him being secure, not pick him up and lift him up or put him where you want him to be. Allow him to be in a space of security where he can grow and know that you the comforter. He's safe with you. Allowing a man to understand that you are his place of safety is another way to support that man, because he's not thinking she gonna yap and yap to her friends. She gonna be out in the street acting the damn fool because my dollars may be low at this moment. No, be his place of safety. And in return, he will always protect you in every capacity. My bad, I waffled for a minute, but
Oh no.
Yeah, I also like to say too, the best thing a woman could do for a wife could do for her husband is pray for him. Hands down. That's the most effective and efficient thing you could do. And if it's a time where things are uncertain or things may be difficult, not only pray for him, but pray for him out loud. That way he hears your heart and you petition it before God. Because at the end of the day, it's God that keeps you together, right? God is the glue, right? That keeps it together. And also anything that you come into, blessings and favor are going to come from God anyway, right? So when you sincerely petition your prayers before God and allow your husband to hear those prayers, then he will understand exactly where your frame of mind is coming from. And showing that ultimately, even when in time of uncertainty, and he may be unsure about his place in the marriage, he may be unsure about his value, it helps to reassure him of your commitment. And that at the end of the day, like I said, even if he's on his best or worst behavior, you're committed to the mission. You're submitted to the mission that God put before you, right? So that's strengthening for him. I mean, it makes me think about the story with Mary and Joseph and how they were engaged, even though back in those days, engagement was like the same thing as being married. And the angel had already revealed to Mary that she would conceive this child and that this child would be Jesus, right? So God already had revealed those things to her in her own, because she had her own faith, right? She had her own basis, her own relationship with God before her even getting with Joseph, right? And then when the news came to Joseph about her being pregnant, I can only imagine how he felt. That's like the first Maury case, in history, right? And how that angel had to come and comfort him and let him know, no, she didn't cheat on you. She's not out here creeping. She's not out here acting foul. She is devoted to you. This is something that's God ordained. And that's a position that's for you, that's here. That's a purpose that you specifically have with her. and how this child that you're going to bear is going to be the savior for mankind, right? So I need you to submit and commit to this role, right? Once he got that revelation, Joseph was on.
But B,
It
that
was
was because of
straightforward
his
from there.
belief. That was because of his belief in God. Because had he not had that connection, none of that would have been possible. So back to what you were saying in the initial stages is that spiritual belief, that godly connection. You know what I mean?
Mhm. So ultimately, like that's the nucleus. Period.
Yeah.
That is
Mm-hmm.
the nucleus of it all. And I say for women, like if you're looking for a spouse and you want to date a guy intentionally, I would always ask the question when we're talking about submission and the guy tells you what he thinks about submission, ask that man who he submits to.
Right. Who's his leader? Who does he connect
And that'll
to
give you a clear
in his
consensus
time?
of the type of
Yeah,
man that you're dealing with.
I
Because he
agree.
can make all the money in the world, but what is his anchor?
Right. Well, let's ask the guys this question because we want to hear what men want. That's a question from Shanice. That what do the men look for if they're at a low point in life, like financially? What do you guys look for from a woman, your wife, but to support you?
You know, go ahead, Rob.
Go ahead, Rob. He know you want it. He got that.
No, I agree with everything that both the ladies said, and I'm big on understanding. I'm big on being aware of a situation and understanding the situation, and not being so caught up in how quickly things change. That energy could be placed towards how can we move forward to fix it, to get back where we need to be. But in order to do that, you have to understand where you are. If I fall, just understand that I've fallen.
Okay.
I'm gonna get up. Might take me a minute. But if you're willing to be here to help me get back up, please do. But understand that I have fallen and I need to get up and I need to figure out the best way to do it. I need all the energy in me. I need all the power in me to do that. And I would love for you to be here to help me for that. And if you're not willing to help me do that, let me be and let me figure it out on my own.
No.
Okay, wait, hold on. We got. Let me just write this note down because let me get a pen.
But
Ron needs understanding. He's saying that he needs understanding because he's gonna get himself back together. But if you don't give him that understanding, then y'all can't grow as a team. So we're let the men, I understand where we coming from.
No, but you my wife though, right? We talking about wife, husband, and wives, right?
We're talking about relationships in general.
So husband, wife, in a relationship.
So we could include husband and wife. We're talking about relationships in general because not everybody out here is married. So we need to be diversified to be able to encompass everyone.
That's what I'm saying. That all right. Maybe I'm thinking about this differently. Okay. But when I'm thinking about this question right here, right? A woman supported a man, whatever, like in a financial instability. That means he don't have no direction in his finances, all over the place. It's scarce. If you
don't know what happened, circumstances could have arrived, whatever the case may be.
Right. I'm just saying anything. Exactly. If we're just dating and courting, I'm not even. Let's be real. As a man, most men are not even looking to their woman for help. If they're not their wife.
Are you kidding me?
No, because again, we're not talking about Pookies and Ray Rays.
No, but we are in adult relationships as well, and not everybody in an adult relationship is married. But we could be on course, like you said, betrothed. We could be on course and in a serious committed relationship.
Now that type of relationship, yes. If we are engaged to be married, then my financial instability would be an issue because we're about to be married. We're about to actually embark into a relationship that's committed for a lifetime. So if you are my fiance, then I would love to have your support in that aspect. If you're just in a relationship with me and we haven't really defined where this is going. We just kicking it, chilling, and whatever, or we just boyfriend and girlfriend because people love that. You know what I'm saying? Or an adult relationship that's still boyfriend and girlfriend. At the end of the day, you don't have any responsibility to me financially.
Okay, fine. So your breakdown is for serious relationships, either
That's what I'm
engaged or
asking.
married.
We're talking about money. We're talking about financial instability. Let me just rock this whole thing. Let me just put this all together. Talking about financial instability. If I am just dating you, even if I'm dating you seriously, we don't live together. You don't have any financial responsibilities for my crib, neither mine to yours. I'm not talking about being benevolent to someone that you're dating. I'm talking about duty, responsibility. You don't have any of that when I have my own place and you have yours. Now, if we are discussing to actually embark on an event like marriage or a wedding or a ceremony or whatever that's going to actually impact the both of us, then I would actually need your help. And you're my wife at that point. I should be secure enough within our marriage to be vulnerable enough to say I need your help. There should be an expectation in that.
But Tay, I think what we're asking is, what type of support would you want from your woman? In your case, you're speaking specifically about engaged relationships or marriages. What type of support would you want from your woman at that point? Ross said he needed understanding, right? He didn't really classify the level of relationship like you are classifying it, but what type of support do you actually need from that woman? What would make you, what would help you on your journey to restoring wherever you need to be in life financially again?
Maybe it's over my head right now. If
It
I'm
could be.
dating you, dating journey, listen, if I'm dating you, you don't even know, you're not even going to know anything
So we're
about
not
my
talking about the dating for you. Since you're being specific, I'm just lending it to be a specific, because you're being very specific. So
Yeah.
in your specific case, right, what do you look for? Since you're not talking about dating, let's take it to the marriage. If you're in a marriage, what type of support do you need from your wife? What would you look for?
Your full help. Because I'm not even going to play with you. I'm going to be like, baby, I need your help with this right here. Now I got us this far. I'm not about to play with you. I'm not even about to play it like the whole crib is all good and together, and it's not. I'm about to tell you exactly. I need your actual help, and I need your cooperation when I ask for it, and I need to be able to be vulnerable enough in this marriage that I have with you, in my relationship with you, to come to you like this, so that way we can do this together.
I get it, but you're not answering the question.
Kelly, I am. I am answering the question. You're not hearing me. The support that I would need in a financial instability, if I am specifically engaged or married, is your literal help, which means
financial support.
Right. I would need to let you know, like, baby, this right here went this way. I need your help to do this, 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 and this. And I would be specific about it. I'm not about to act like I'm the man and be all alpha and do. No, I actually need you, boo.
Yeah, so what you are saying is that you're gonna need her to understand that she needs to hold it down financially. I think what we were talking about, because you said help, right? But you weren't specific. So I'm saying I need your help, meaning you got to financially hold this down. However,
Kelly, you missed what I'm saying, sweetheart.
Give
me a second. I want you to hear what I'm
saying.
Wait,
let me interject. JB, can you clarify what he's saying in a different way?
I'm a grown man. I could do that.
I'm not saying that you're not a grown man. I'm just looking for a different perspective.
No, I'm giving you the literal perspective, because you said specifically. I'm giving you
I got a thought after that. I got it. I'm gonna let
the literal perspective is, if I'm dating you, we're dating. I'm not even looking for your financial. I'm not looking for any support when it comes to financial instability, because we're just dating.
But we're not talking about that with you, Tay. We're talking about marriage with you.
I know. I'm giving you the full perspective of what I'm saying, sweetheart. You keep cutting me off. Give me a second.
Because I think that Ra was talking about just relationships in general, and then you made it very specific. So with you, I'm just sticking to the marriage since that's what you focusing on, and not going into a relationship because you don't think relationships apply in this sense.
Because again, the marriage is the most underrated thing that is never talked about. Financial instability is a marriage topic. That's not if I'm financially unstable and I'm just dating you, that has nothing to do with me and you. So I'm not even looking for your support when it comes to financial instability on my end as a single man that's just dating and courting a woman. Now, if we grow into a thing where that happens, where we get into the betrothedness, then we get into being married, all this kind of stuff, then I'm going to specifically look for your help and cooperation in whatever situation that occurs. Whatever situation that occurs, because I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real. Most women don't even know that men have a whole financial instability at all, because most men don't talk to women about their stuff. We hold everything inside. Most of the time we don't even let y'all know like that. So it's like I'm not about to tell a woman that I'm in a relationship, even if I'm in a relationship with her. I'd be like, oh, I'm a little bit on the hit right now with the money. Can I borrow this, or can I say this, or whatever the case may be? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm only doing that to my wife. I'm only going to talk about financial stuff to my wife. I'm not saying nothing financially to a woman if she's getting to know me, date me, court me, or whatever. You ain't going to never know my finances because I'm not going to tell you that. That's why, to me, when I look at this question, that is a married or a serious commitment question. That's not a if we're dating or just having a relationship question. Like, are we having a relationship to see where this go? Like that type of stuff, like what JB talked about. Those type of relationships are overrated. And then you want to put money involved in it too?
Yeah. See that.
Yeah, I agree.
All the way there because we keep putting too much value on these insignificant relationships. We putting real stuff on these things, and we think and we think we have a right to expect something from someone that I'm just dating or courting or whatever. It's like at the end of the day, that's not what that is.
Right.
If I'm having a situation where I want if I'm financially unstable and I'm married on my end, like I'm going to my wife with that. I'm going to my fiance with that because she knows about my finances because we have a specific event that we about to do, which is get married. So she's going to know everything about my finances at that point. But before that, you're not going to know anything. You're not even going to know that I'm struggling. That's how men operate. Well, that's how I operate. I just put it this way.
Okay, because I absolutely disagree with you. However, let's hear what JB got to say.
I'm back in Tay. Like I am. I'm back in Tay because people want to make relationships out of apples and oranges, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? Like the reason, going back to the concept of when I was saying that, relationships are overrated is because we put too much on the other person. All of a sudden that we living with them, we are sharing our complete independence with them, and we haven't really established a relationship like that, but just based on monetary and economic issues that's going on between you or them. They all of a sudden we established this quote unquote serious relationship that we have to live together and share everything. But that is not the ideal way you should do that. You should go ahead and just be, if a relationship is just a verbal agreement to be committed to somebody, then you should just use it as that. If a marriage is a legal documentation, as do we part, we should use it as that. So it should be, we have society that's making hybrid out of these two concepts. You see what I'm saying? That's what causes the tangent of relationships being overrated and marriages being underrated. So in Tay's aspect, this is why I agree with him, is because of the fact that this concept of financial instability is an individual thing until legality plays a part. That's just it. It's an individual thing. If you created the concept of being in a serious relationship, living together, and all the other type of stuff without proposals, without all of that, y'all just having a serious relationship, had a couple of kids, y'all living together, that type of thing, then that is play by risk scenario. The person does not have to obligate themselves to the financial stability that you put yourself in. That's not
Right
in that thing. You're not obligated. You're not. You made yourself obligated, but that's not supposed to be the case. So that's what he was making the distinction in. So I actually agree with Rob with what he said. Rob's over here. I actually agree with Rob with what he said about, just being understanding. That makes sense in the level that Tay talked about. In that level, the relationship has to be that level.
Well, let me ask you this.
Boy and girlfriend, then your obligation, my obligation on my finances is not to you, neither yours to me.
So I'll say this, right? Once again, I disagree. However, I'm disagreeing on the concept of if I am in a relationship, right? And we are growing to certain terms, certain levels, right? Say, for example, the guy that I'm with gets laid off, right? Mm-hmm. We're dating. In his journey through reestablishing himself, you want to know that the person that you're with is understanding. So I think that the question does sit on a scale. Of course, it intensifies with the responsibility as the relationship matures into marriage. However, if you are not at that stage yet and the person visibly goes through something, or you're really connecting to them and you're on the same energy level, the same frequency, and you realize something is going on, I think consideration and understanding have to be implemented by the other party, for me, the woman, at this point, to say that I'm allowing you to go through this process. I may not know if we're dating the intricacies of what's going on with you financially. However, in support of the union that we have, even though it's in a infant stage, when you compare it to marriage, I can still be understanding. I can still be supportive. So that now when our relationship grows, me operating in my femininity can contribute to any circumstance that you're a part of, because you've already seen that I'm an understanding woman and I'm being considerate to the journey that you go through. And that's prior to even getting to the stage of marriage. So I do believe that it's a scale and it can be considered on both ends of the scenario, not only through marriage.
Right. So let me back up real quick. What you're saying is that you're applying for the promotion.
I'm not applying for the promotion. I'm just being who I am.
I'm using this concept. I'm gonna use this concept real quick. Fill me out for a second, Kelly. Mm-hmm. You're applying for the promotion, but you don't necessarily have the job. So what you're doing is the role to let somebody see that you're doing that. That's completely fine. That's all that.
But that's not what I'm talking about, Jay.
I understand. I just want to finish my point.
Some people may use it as applying for the promotion. However, if that's my attribute as a woman, then there's no need for me to apply. That's just who I am genuinely, and I'm sharing that with the person. That person would get it regardless. So I'm not applying for any promotion.
That's what he's agreeing
I do agree with that. That's what I'm agreeing with. Right. But I'm using this example of promotion to the job like a serious relationship to a marriage. The serious relationship is not legal through the states of requirement of anybody in one of those parties to do anything legally responsible for them. You are just not. That's your quarter in that arcade game. If you understand what I'm saying. That is your risk due to reward. That was what you, based on the way you love him, the way you're into a relationship with him, that's what that is. You made a key word on that point, Kelly. You said responsibility. The responsibility of his financial instability is not yours until it's legal.
But it is not. I'm not saying that it's mine.
You can do whatever you want to do before that.
The question was, how would you support the person? And support does not only mean financial. Right, and what I'm not saying is, by no means when I apply for a position, I'm just being who I am. And that person in service will get that treatment. If it was a friend of mine, if B came to me in a certain situation, or I saw her, she would get that same consideration. right? So that's not me applying for any position. That's just me being that genuine person in consideration to what that person is going through. That person just happens to be intimately involved in my life at the point. But go ahead, because I see you want to say something. Knowing that we are wrapping it up because we're about that time. So I'm going to let you get into your thing, and then we're going to get into the credits, guys.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's making really good points. And I see where the fellas is coming from, and I see where you coming from, Kelly. All I can say is, as a woman, and as a wife, and then a woman who was not a wife at some point in time, if a woman's take is, well, I'm the giving type, I'm the generous type, let me step in, let me help him because I see he's going through something, that's a dangerous, slippery slope for a woman to be on. I like the analogy that JB used, because it's like you're applying for the job that you haven't gotten, in the sense that it's like the old saying, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free?
That's what I
Often
thought.
we see women get played in situations like that, where a guy is just your boyfriend, and you're literally investing money and resources that you truly do not have to give to this man, in the hopes that he's going to see how down you are, how good you are, how loyal you are. And what does he do? He get on his feet and he leave you for Becky with the good hair. Or he cheat on you with the other chick, have a baby on you with the other chick. You, as women, you cannot sell your resources short. You don't give husband attributes to boyfriends. It's real simple. You don't do permanent things with temporary people. That comes down to us protecting our womb. I fully
get that.
And protecting our wallet.
Don't you see
so
that?
I understand that's what the guys are saying. Now, I understood completely what Rala was saying with being a emotional support, a safe space, right? When a man is going through a financial hardship and he has not yet made that commitment to you, it's not your responsibility to step in to help him. Not saying that you're making it your responsibility to do so. Part of us as women, we are instinctively nurturers, right? Instinctively, even when it comes down to a dog or to a child, you see somebody fall, they sprain their leg, they get a boo-boo on their leg. Oh, the poor baby, the poor dog, let me go heal them, let me go help them. But one thing that I have learned that was so critical for me, even as a married woman, when there were things that I wanted my husband to see and he wasn't seeing it, God corrected me and let me know that ain't your place. Even as his wife, it's not your place to keep showing him. And I want you to get this point. I want you to get this point. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. Even though in that situation, you could be dead right. It is not your place. That's why it's imperative that man have that relationship with God and let God bring him to that point. Because once he gets to that point, he's going to be 10 times the man he was before. And as women, it's really in a form of emasculination that we don't even understand, when you are really stepping out of your position as a woman to go help him. Some stuff he's going to have to fall, bump his head, and learn the hard way. And it hurts. It hurts. Because as a woman, especially if you are spiritually in tune, if you are spiritually aligned, you see the crash before it happens, right? I say all the time an analogy of a car when it comes to marriage. My husband is the engine.
Yes.
Without an engine, a car can't drive, right? So it's a vital point to have an engine, right? Okay, but I'm the airbags. I'm the side mirrors. I'm the seatbelt. So yeah, he can drive comfortably without side mirrors, without a seatbelt, right? Without airbags. But he get in an accident, you're going to need them airbags. You're going to need that seatbelt to keep you from dying in that accident. Right? So that's the difference, right? So also, as playing those side mirrors, I'm there to help position him. What happens when you're driving on the freeway and somebody gets too close to your car? Beep, 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 beep. That alert goes off. And it's letting you know, oh, I'm getting too close. Or an accident is on the horizon if I don't change my position, right? So that's my job as his covering. Is I help to prevent him or shield him from either the brunt of that accident or help to prevent him from getting into that accident. However, he still has to be the one driving that car. So that's why it's hard being a woman when it comes to submission, when it's situations like that, because you do want to step ahead and be like, hey, you don't see this coming. It's a situation is about to come on a rise. It's about to be a bad situation. And he may not take your advice. He might not hear you out. But understand at the end of the day, God didn't allow you to get to this position and leave you hanging. So that's where your faith comes in as a wife.
Right.
And you sit back and say, you pray to God and say, whatever the situation is going to be, whatever it is that he has to learn, you pray that God shield the brunt of whatever the hard part, the pivotal part, the painful part that's going to come from him having to learn that lesson the hard way. And when he sees that, even though you knew what was going to happen and you didn't throw it in his face, you sit back and you chill, but you prayed for him and you prayed out loud, where he heard you petition those prayers, he's going to come back later and he's going to be even quicker to listen to you the next time, or hear you out, or to converse with you before he even decides to make a decision. He's going to come to you just when he's brainstorming ideas, because now it's truly manifested to him in the physical and spiritual, that he's able to see, wow, not only is she my wife, but she really got my back. And sometimes it takes those kind of situations, and it's not until women experience that for themselves that you are really truly prepared and having that level of maturity and understanding spiritually to know how to handle those type of situations. Those type of situations are the reason why this platform is needed, why we need the Her Village Awaits, because this is marriage advice that my mother couldn't give me. Even though my mother and my father, 48 years, right? Successfully, happily married. My mother never experienced financial strains with my father. They have been truly blessed, but they didn't have to weather that storm, right? But what your marriage looks like may not be the same as someone else, right? But that's why we need that community, so that we're able to bounce ideas off of each other and explain what we went through, how we bettered those storms, and that way it's beneficial to someone else. And so I understood completely where the fellas was coming from that. But for women, I know that it's hard because it's instinctive of us to protect the people that we love. But sometimes you got to let that man learn the hard way. And often, just keeping it real. And this is, some women might not like me for saying this, but I'm going to keep it thug today. You wonder why that man picked you over? Why he overlooked you for the bird that work at Walgreens that barely graduated with a GED, even though you got all your credentials, all your acronyms, and you out here doing it on your own? Because when he looks back on his life, when he had those hardships, you remind him of them hardships, because he didn't dig himself out of it. You were the one acting like his mother, coming and wiping his boo-boo, putting a Band-Aid on. Let that man learn on his own, and he's going to appreciate those situations. Now, if he a fool, he won't learn from it. And that's the type of dude you shouldn't be with, no way. So that's why for women, we have to learn how to choose wisely.
And I agree with that. So what I'm going to say in closing up this subject is, I agree on both ends, but I believe it is a scale, and prioritizing the support that you give, because I don't believe that you need to support in a wife-like capacity if you're in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, even if you're in a serious relationship heading towards marriage. I don't agree that you are supposed to support as a wife. However, going under the premise of being understanding and even considerate is not, to me, a quality that makes me applicable for a promotion in any capacity. That's just a quality of a woman towards anybody that's in her life. However, going into anything more than that and applying wife-like responsibilities, like Tay and JB and Berakhah was saying, then I think that it's appropriate. So prioritizing your level of support, because support is not only financially in relationships, as we talked about in our second subject, or our feature subject as well. So support does not necessarily need to be financial. However, applying the appropriate support and knowing your place, I agree with Tay in that one, and Jay, knowing your place and knowing how to issue certain levels of support is key to the level of situation or relationship that you are in. So on that note, I hope that you all enjoyed the takeover today. It was a pleasure being here, and I appreciate you guys for having me, letting us do this journey with you. to continue on. I need everybody to subscribe, hit the like button. This is the Mailroom View on Instagram. And you can follow us on Instagram at BK358, as well as Her Village Awaits on YouTube. Everything is in the link below. Tay got us. He's holding us down. And this is episode 10. We appreciate being here. And we got to get these guys on our platform next time. What do y'all say about that?
Thank you for the takeover, ladies.
Yeah, thank you.
Y'all that came in and took over the show. I just want to thank you all so much. Not only, I want to tell our viewers real quick, not only were we so happy to have Her Village Awaits, Kelly and Berakhah come on the show, they are also just extremely dope, avid supporters of our show. I think Berakhah has been here since week 1. And we just really appreciate y'all, both of you all. So just thank you for the support. This was really dope. Thank you for taking over the mailroom today, ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We appreciate you.
Yeah, this is the camaraderie that we wanted, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we're going to be ready for y'all, too. Don't even worry about it. We're already available. Just let us know what the date and time will show up on the horizon. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. We appreciate
To
you.
our viewers that slid over to YouTube today, thank you so much. We see y'all. We appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into our YouTube channel, The Mailroom Network. Email us at themailroom313@yahoo.com.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody
Thank
good?
you, ladies.
Hey,
Clap it up for the ladies. Give it up for the
quick.
ladies one time.
So the truth be told, man, I really appreciate everybody doing those questions. There are 2 questions that we didn't get into. We kind of did, though, if you really pay attention to it. But we didn't really address them like we did the rest of them. One was from Truth Be Told about, would you date, from a man's perspective, would you date financially stable? And Shinsi 1, how can a man be a leader in other aspects of the finances? In other words, so I'm gonna write those down and I'm gonna let the boys know, man. We'll come back to that.
We definitely gonna come back to that.
Yes, let's put it up on our Instagrams as well, because we want them to interact on Instagram too. So we'll put stuff up on Instagram to get some interaction as well, get that traction going. You know how the algorithm goes.
Right.
Everybody good?
Yes, thank you,
good.
fellas, for having us.
Everybody drinks some water. Goddamn. Everybody drinks some water.
Thank you, Tay.
Appreciate you all. We love you. Hey, to the viewers, we love you. All our subscribers, those that subscribe to us, we appreciate it. Hey, subscribe to Her Village Awaits. They dope. Everything. Listen, dialogue doesn't have to be toxic.
No, it does not.
Does not have to be toxic, man. It's okay to agree to disagree and come to a resolve. And that's what we had today. And that's what's up. Because nobody is a monolith, right? We all different. And that note, we out. We appreciate it. Y'all be safe. Much love. Hey.
Later.
All right.
I stay on with it, all right?